Welcome, friends. I'm in a neighbor's garden where they have a huge stand, as you can see, of wild carrot. And this friend is also known as Queen Anne's lace, Daucus carota. And this is the original carrot, the carrot that we currently eat that's filled of beautiful colors, red and orange and sometimes a pale color. Well, that comes from the root originally of this plant. And the root of this plant, I'm not going to pull it out right now, is white and quite thin and slender, especially during the second year growth of this plant. All plants in the parsley family have a 2-year growth cycle, and we're seeing the result of the second year of growth. And so the root at this time has really put all of its energy up into the blossoms and into the seed. And I'm usually working in my practice, I'm usually working with the seeds. And you can see here's a seed head that is still quite green, and there's a pollinator in there. And here's a seed head that's really begun closing itself up. And likewise here. So if I were going to be harvesting this for medicine that I was making into tincture, I would be thinking about any of these 3 seed heads would be good medicine. And we'll talk about what that medicine can be in a few minutes. Now, if I were thinking about holding on to making medicine with the seeds themselves and wanting to dry the seeds, not making them for tincture per se, I would be waiting until the seeds are entirely brown. And I don't have an example of that to show you quite yet. We're just not that far along into the process of these plants. And I've harvested some of the heads, so they're some of the heads that might have already been brown, never had the opportunity to get to brown seeds. So these plants are related to cumin and rye and anise and fennel. They're all in the same plant family. And what's important to know about this is that they have similar compounds and similar actions in the body. So they're all carminatives, which support gas and bloating in the belly, help to relieve gas, and in some ways are considered to be indirectly aphrodisiac. Now, carrot, for example, has the capacity to support fertility. I've seen people using wild carrot every day. So, okay, in my practice, I've used wild carrot in 3 ways. One, as a daily tonic, taken similarly to Vitex. So 1 squirt in the morning, but in this case, to support thyroid levels, regulating thyroid levels, particularly for low thyroid. Additionally, I've engaged wild carrot 1 dropperful in the mornings from menstruation to ovulation to support fertility. And what we'll see in that case is a noticeable increase in cervical fluid. And then the third way that I've engaged wild carrot in my practice and also in my personal life has been as a method of contraception. And what's beautiful about this particular practice is that we don't actually know that conception has happened. There may have been fertilizing intercourse, or maybe even not fertilizing intercourse, but there's something to cause us to think that there may have been the potential for pregnancy. And in this case, wild carrot is engaged the morning after ovulation. So when basal body temperature goes high, when fertile mucus drops tremendously and the body is there's almost no fertile mucus or 0 at all. And then I take 1 dropperful of wild carrot. Occasionally I'll take a second dropperful the following morning or even that evening. And I want to honor Robin Rose Bennett, who's one of my primary teachers regarding this plant, who has a long and strong relationship with wild carrot. She, while she was in perimenopause, used a combination of wild carrot seeds and mugwort in tea form or tincture form to support her fertility, meaning in that case that she was wanting to avoid pregnancy. So that's also something to have awareness of. And just such a beautiful blossom, seed head. So wild carrot has this really amazing relationship of connecting the heavens. You can see that beautiful white heaven connection to be deeply rooted into the earth. And what's also so powerful about this plant is that we can really see the dynamics between what it is to have many seeds and also to be bright in blossom form. Originally, we worked with the flowers that had the purple dot in the center as a mark of purple red dot as a mark of menstruation, of bringing on menses. And occasionally I'll add some blossoms into my tincture, but mostly I'm just preparing it with seed. And you'll see this one doesn't have a red dot, purple dot center. Here's another purple dot. Do they have major differences in how the body works with the medicine of these plants if they have a purple dot or not? I don't know the answer to that. If there's anyone out there listening who is studying plants in a lab, this might be something to explore. Although wild carrot's been really clear that it doesn't want to be in a lab. Sometimes I refer to her as she, and I'm practicing my languaging around that. Another thing that's really important to know about wild carrot is that, again, also known as Queen Anne's lace, is that it has some lookalikes and poison hemlock. And a water hemlock. So it's really important to make sure that you see this wonderful sort of under umbrella shape underneath the umbel that you're harvesting, to be sure that you have wild carrot. And the stems are a little bit hairy, a little bit prickly. That's also really important. So lookalikes don't have this wonderful underbelly, and lookalikes would be smooth. Also, wild carrot doesn't typically have red splotches on the base of the stems. There's a little bit here, but the lookalikes would have major, you can see the hairs there much better. Lookalikes would have a lot of the purpley red splotches. So that's really important to consider. Also, wild carrot, the flowers, in my mind, smell a little bit like grape. And the seeds, when they're crushed, very, very clearly smell of carrot. So those are also identifying characteristics. And how do I make the tincture? It's from the seed heads that are green, just beginning to turn brown. And I harvest the seed heads just below this umbel, and I pack quite firmly into a container, and I use 50% alcohol over the plant medicine. And I let them sit for a minimum of 6 weeks and let them know my prayers and intentions for this medicine to be supportive for many different ways of being supported through the hormonal endocrine system and having connection to all of the beauty that's present in the world, so that we can really show up knowing that we're a part of all that is. Truly this connection between heaven and earth. Thank you, friends. Thank you, wild carrot. Until next time, bye for now.